We're talking about our generation.
Well, thank you for taking my call. I want to say I appreciate your show. I've learned a lot.
This is the Boomers Brain Trust Show. Call 877-PLANNER now.
It is the Boomers Brain Trust Show. I'm Johnny Dean with Dinah Smith. 877-PLANNER is our number if you need to get in touch with the Brain Trust anytime at all. We're here for you. 877-752-6637. You can find us online, boomersbraintrust.com. You can also find us on Twitter and on Facebook. Hashtag Ask the Brain Trust. Look at that. I didn't even have it in front of me, and I said it. I'm just making myself look bad. Anyway, thanks for joining us once again. Happy to have you here on both radio and television. Hey, if you've never actually been a victim of a scam yourself, I would venture a guess that chances are you either know someone who has been or you've been contacted by the scam artists themselves. Some of them I think are blatantly obvious. Others probably not so much. But what's alarming to me is not just the sort of proliferation of these scams over the past 15 years, but the sophistication as well. Frequently, of course, you'll see them online, but not always the case. How do you spot the scam artists? How do you avoid becoming a victim of them? So joining us right now on the Boomers Lifeline is Heather Wagenhals, author of Yes You Can and host of Unlock Your Wealth Radio. She's here to give us the scoop on some useful ways to sort of detect a scam. Hey, Heather, thanks for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine. I love your show.
Well, thanks. We appreciate that. All right, so getting right to it, people I think are pretty savvy, at least now, about what to believe online. Not everybody, but I would say we're certainly more savvy than we were, say, 10 or 15 years ago. But do you run into people who still kind of go by the mantra of if it's on the internet, it has to be true? I mean, is this still a big thing now?
Well, you're a French model, aren't you?
Absolutely, I'm afraid. How did you know that? How did you know that about me?
Dinah told me.
Okay, Dinah.
I did a little recon before the show.
Okay, good for you. That's what you read. Fine.
Now, you know, it's really interesting, and it's not limited to the online scams, because I'm still waiting for my Nigerian lottery ticket to come in.
Oh, as we all are, sure, any day.
Yeah. How much did you pay for yours? I'm in for like 6 figures, right?
Well, I tell you what. Now I know you're kidding, but that actually I've seen exposés on these things where you know in the olden days I think they were asking for a whole lot of money. Nowadays it's just a few $100 here and there. We've seen them where they actually send checks. In fact, one of the people on the show kind of played along with this sort of thing, wound up getting a check in the mail, which obviously wouldn't have been good. But they get this check for $30,000, and they say, "Okay, deposit this into your account, and then wire me, $20,000 of it, and you can keep the rest." That kind of a thing. I mean, you've seen stuff like that too, right?
Oh yes, I mean, and we see modern everyday stuff with insurance sales. People come by with these policies and things, and the challenge isn't us being savvy or not savvy to it. And this is what I write about in my Cracking Your Money Code book that's coming out next month. And that is that the brain plays tricks on us, And so all we have to do is be primed for something. And, so that could be like the passing mention of something. Like, for example, with celebrities, we see that a lot, How do you know somebody's a celebrity? Well, you hear their name often enough, or you go see them in a movie, and so then this image of celebrity gets created in your brain. And so there's been psychological studies that have done where they primed people with a bunch of different names, and then a few days later, they said, pick the celebrities off the list. And a majority of the folks, in addition to the real-life celebrities, also picked these other names, and they weren't sure exactly why they picked them. And we have this switch that kind of works between our conscious and subconscious. So if our subconscious has been primed for something, then when the actual thing comes down, we're not quite sure where we heard it or saw it, but it's now familiar, and so it's easier to fall for that scam. So, you take and get a drop mailer in your mailbox, and you know, everybody always goes through those little coupon packs, and so you flip, you know, and you go through and you see all of those things. And even though you throw away the ones that you don't want, you read it, you looked at it, your brain processed it, so it goes in there. And then a few days later, you get a knock on your door, and somebody's selling you discount meats.
Wow.
And you're like, oh, I think that's a really reputable place. But why? You can't put your finger on it consciously, but it's because you were primed. You probably saw an SW Meats coupon in your mailer pack and dismissed it because at the time you didn't, but the person's sitting right there in front of you, and so now you're like, oh, okay.
So Heather, is that one of the scams that's really popular right now? Is this sort of, you know, you don't really recognize exactly where you knew it, but is this one of the big ones, or are there other big ones that we should be aware of?
Well, it's kind of like a foundation for a lot of decision making that we do. So that's one of them. We've been primed, and then they come in and sneak around with us. Another thing is a friend refers you to them because they're in on it. You know, and I mean, if you think about it, Bernie Madoff didn't solicit a bunch of people.
Oh, it was a bunch of, sure, it was athletes, it was actors, it was everybody else who said, hey, I got this guy, look at my statements and look what they're doing. So we only got another minute and a half or so. What's a surefire way to kind of prevent yourself from being scammed, or is there a surefire way to prevent it?
The best that you can do is to keep your physiology calm. Do not allow your subconscious or emotional desire to make a lot of money or have that dream trip or vacation or whatever it might be dangling in front of you, and step away from the emotion. Identify, is this even in line with my goals? Sometimes we just get enamored by spur-of-the-moment, spontaneous stuff. And if it is in line with your goals and looks like it might be an investment or an opportunity you want to get involved in, then you must take your time and do your homework over several days. Nothing is too good to be true, and nothing is, you know, limited supplies last, especially on the internet.
Yeah.
You know, we only have 10 more books to give away, and I'm like, they're electronic. You have a bazillion of them. Really, 10? Only 10? I better buy this now.
Speaking of books, yours a new one. It's not out yet. It's called Cracking Your Money Code. Is that the deal? Just give us 30 seconds on that.
Cracking Your Money Code is all about identifying how the biology of your brain works in relation to making money management decisions. And it shows you how to overcome your limiting beliefs about money and identify when your physiology gets the best of you, because our DNA says we're destined to fail at long-term money management.
So where can they go to pick up that book, a copy of it?
CrackingYourMoneyCode.com.
Simple. Supplies are limited, folks. You may want to get online now. Heather Wagenhals, hey, thanks for being with us. We really appreciate it. We'll have you on again.
The pleasure's mine.
All right, take care. There's scams. They're out there. They're everywhere. We know about them. They're getting, as I said, they're getting more sophisticated. You got to be on the lookout. The old mantra, once again, if it's on the internet, it has to be true. Just remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Thanks for joining us. We're out of time. Dinah, I appreciate all the work we put into this show. It's been a fun show. Join us again next time. If you need the Brain Trust, you can do so. You call us, 877-PLANNER, PLANNER. For the entire gang behind the scenes, everyone, I'm Johnny Dean. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.